let's talk about how you structure the season, because obviously there's different phases and stages of it. So when you first come back together with the team in the preseason, what does your training structure look like at that point?
It's difficult to say exactly because from year to year it depends. There's such a difference in terms of how many players I might have, or which positions, or due to national team commitments and so on. Last year, for example, I did 7 of the 8 preparation weeks with no setter, so it's difficult to do quite a lot of things if you don't have a setter. But the programming of the season, it always begins with the idea that at the end, in the last week of the season, we need to be in good shape, with good motivation, and with some degree of freshness, which I guess is a combination of those first two. So that's the beginning part. So the goal before that is that at the beginning of the season we need to be in good shape, maybe not in the absolute best shape, but in good shape that we can play well at the beginning of the season, because the first couple of matches the results and performances of the first couple of matches can have a really big impact on the way the rest of the season works. And if you win the first match, you can go through with a lot of confidence. If you lose the first match, it can create doubts directly from the onset. So it's important to be ready for the first match. I have a lot of emphasis, or a pretty big emphasis, on weight training in the first part of the preparation. So in, say, an 8-week preparation, the first 4 weeks are the overarching priority is weight training. And in Berlin, the last years, we actually had a really good cooperation with a doctor physio practice that also had a rehab center, and we had the guys doing professional what you might call prehab, so individualized prevention programs twice a week with 3 times weight training. So that was the priority for 4 weeks. And then on the technical side, there's a conditioning component, which I mostly did with different forms of small games. I don't do any actual conditioning. So in that kind of traditional understanding of conditioning, I do conditioning every day, but separate from volleyball, I don't do any conditioning. So mostly in the form of small games, and we build the load over the first month, particularly where the first week we don't jump very much. Maybe only jump on two days of the first week, and building through that, we maybe count the jumps for those first weeks. So that's the conditioning part. And technical, the idea is to put in different pieces at different times. So depending on which players that I have at that moment. This year, without setters, we spent more time with individual reception, for example. But just working on blocks over those first 4 weeks, so that we have a system, or maybe not a system, but we have a technical readiness. And then at around the 4-week mark, then we'll start playing games. In the last maybe month before the season, tends to be focused on gameplay. And there we get to game number one.